as you can see, or not see, or whatever, this is a Samsung Galaxy S5. The same one that I've had for the last several months now. And with the upcoming release of the iPhone 6, time I said goodbye to this phone. I'll be saying goodbye to it in a couple weeks. Greetings, viewers, and good evening. Yes, it's evening out. Venture Link here, back again with another video review for you guys. Why? Because it's YouTube, and unless you're Homer Simpson in the comments with your gigantic thing of popcorn, we make videos on YouTube. We just don't lurk in the comments and make comments. That's what YouTube is for, is make videos. Additionally, out of all the social media accounts that I have, you decided to get me here on YouTube. Well, how the heck are you? Welcome aboard. Glad you're here. Glad you're watching. So, as I said, it's been about 5 months since I had the Galaxy S5. Figured with the new iPhone 6 coming out and I'm going to go up to it, figured I would take a few minutes and do a video review on my experiences with the Samsung Galaxy S5. So let's be like Homer Simpson and Michael Jackson and get our thing of popcorn and kick back, and I'll share my experiences with you guys. So, what can I say about the GS5? Well, I'm going to say this, the phone, has its quirks, and it has its awesomeness. Overall, I would say the phone is good, and here's why. For starters, the size of the phone, is decent enough. As you can see, it fits in my hand just fine, and I can manipulate things with my thumbs and my fingers. I'll even give you a free demonstration. As you can not see, it's on the home screen, but whatever. As you can see, it fits nicely in my hand, and these are pretty big hands. The screen is actually nice and crisp and looks good, despite, the lack of ability of being able to see it tonight, but whatever. Let's talk about one of my favorite cases for phones, OtterBoxes. Remember when I had my initial impressions that I had the OtterBox the same day as the S5? That was a big win. Apple level OtterBox service on a Samsung device. So for that, I had to give OtterBox a round of applause this time, and actually stepping up their game, because if you remember on the S4, OtterBox didn't have a case for, I think it was a few weeks, I said. The Note 3 was worse. We had to wait 1.5 months for a Note 3 case from OtterBox. That was pretty sad, and I still can't get over that well, but whatever. Overall, the battery life is pretty good. At idle, I can get at least 18 hours of life out of it. This is a portion of running the S Health and my pedometer and being on Wi-Fi and all that. Of course, your mileage may vary and depend upon if you're playing a lot of games or watching a lot of videos and such. At that point, your mileage is definitely going to vary. The phone, feels pretty peppy for the most part. Loads everything up nice and fast, nice and fine. But there are some drawbacks, like if you leave the phone on for more than a few days straight. I've been noticing things like Facebook and Facebook Messenger literally slowing themselves down to a crawl and crashing a lot more often. And of course, then you got to go restart the phone. So that's definitely not a win there, but at least you can restart it and everything's fixed. 16 gigs storage. Well, unfortunately, that's still a pretty big drawback on the S series, especially if you remember with the S4. 64 gigs was just a tease and non-existent. 32 gigs was very limited. Everyone else was stocking 16 gigs. Whereas, the rest of the competition, although they're moving on to internal storage, they were starting to offer 32 and 64. And in Apple's case, 128 gigs starting from the 5S. Samsung needs to really step their game up. On the other hand, Samsung is still probably the only company, if not one of the very few companies, that still offers an internal SD card for all your music and apps and such, which in this regard, they actually brought back App2 SD or some other similar feature to that in the S5. And you still get micro USB support, which is a win. especially if you like to play with controllers and external drives and all that. As for the water resistance, I guess whatever's out there is out there. It is what it is. Personally, I didn't soak mine. I really don't feel like soaking my phones. So I really have no call or judgment on this one. S Health, is a pretty nifty feature. Like I said, you get a pedometer. You also get a heart rate monitor, which is just right where the flash is here. When you start it up, you put your finger there, hold it there, keep going until you get a heart rate or an error, in which case I try again. And as you all know, I'm a heart patient, so having the heart monitor is actually pretty nifty. But it would be even more nifty if I had that gear watch thing that was optimized to take advantage of S Health. So that way, if I do pass out or something, someone can see, 300 beats a minute, and someone's going to clearly know that something is very wrong. Unfortunately, I didn't get that kind of a gear watch because I had to go and buy me that minivan because the Saturn was starting to take a dump on the transmission on it was starting to take a dump. And of course, a buddy of mine that was promising me deals and stuff not only never got back to me when they was gonna release the watch in the first place, but the deals he didn't get back to me with those either. So whatever. Using the pedometer, it's actually pretty awesome when you check it every once in a while to see how far you go and how many steps it took to get to all your places that you went all day, as well as the equivalent amount of miles. So I thought that was kind of awesome. The buttons on the S5, take some getting used to. Remember how, like I said before, the menu button down here, it's, on the left side of the home button. Before you used to open up your options menus and all that in your apps. Now it just opens up your recent app list, and now it's up to some little 3 dots going like this in the top right corner to bring up options on Android apps. So yeah, it does take some getting used to, but you will get used to it, trust me. Additionally, the settings menu is also some kind of bunch of buttons thing, unless of course you go and revert the settings back. And as another friendly reminder, you bring down your notifications bar, push the gear, there's your settings menu. It's pretty simple once you find it, and also takes some getting used to because as I recall, you could long press the menu button and on the home screen you can get the settings menu from there. As for the USB door, here's what happened to mine. As you can see, it's non-existent after 5 months. So take that for what it is. It unfortunately didn't last that long. It just fell off on me one night out of nowhere. It should still be, in the van because that's where it fell off, but it is what it is. The camera's pretty good, but there are a few times where the camera wants to take like glitch pictures of your colors, like somehow the color just inverts out of nowhere. I'm not sure if this is some kind of a software issue or a hardware issue. But keep in mind this is on T-Mobile, so if there's an update to fix this, I would like to know about it, I guess. See if that fixed it, or if it's something internal with the phone. But as you saw in the first pair of pics, this kind of malarkey started happening right around time when I was near some kind of haunted house. So coincidence? I think not. Additionally, if you've watched any of my recent YouTube videos, when it comes to the camera quality for the recordings, what you see is what you get. So I guess if you like some of my YouTube videos and how they turned out, I would give the S5 some consideration. Rooting, it's just as easy and free-flowing as it is on any other Samsung device, Download Odin, download Java, download keys, and install all that stuff, and then flash yourself a CF Auto Root tool or custom recovery, go from there. Unless, of course, you're on AT&T or Verizon. The internet on the phone, that's also pretty peppy. Bonus points if you're in an area with 4G LTE. Lucky you. Yeah, there's times where, even if I have a data signal, even on Wi-Fi, Facebook and such, will not connect, although I clearly have a signal and I clearly have data, so whatever. And it's not just Facebook, sometimes my browsers will do that. Not sure if this is if this will be fixed with Apple, or if this is a Samsung thing, or it's because I rooted, or it's because it's T-Mobile, but whatever, if this does happen to you, keep in mind that Wi-Fi is indeed your friend. When it comes to the sounds on the phone, sometimes when I would use the headphones or put the phone on silent, all the sounds that get routed out of this upper speaker here, see, the upper speaker where you hear your calls, all the sounds that get routed out of that, and your power down sounds when you power the phone down, that doesn't play. But if you restart it, everything works again. And of course, when it comes to that classic Samsung keyboard glitch, right there. That's still back and it's still in the S5. The GPS is pretty accurate. It actually gets my location right, so hooray for thinking that I'm actually in northern Campbell County, northern Kentucky, instead of somewhere in Spain. So there's a win. Overall, KitKat felt pretty awesome. Like I said many times with the S5 videos, it does take getting used to, but once you get past its quirks and randomness, it's actually pretty good. And I would like to say, going forward, what if the next KitKat or Key Lime Pie or whatever else Android's going to come up with next. Like I said, my overall experience with the S5 is good. I would personally give it 3.5 to 4 stars. This certainly isn't the best phone in the world, but it's not the worst. As for recommendations, well, we got the Notes coming out. Yes, I said Notes because in addition to the Note 4, there's this Note Edge, which the main difference is that right down here, I believe it is this curve. Normally on Android devices you have a dashboard up here with all your icons, the data, and battery life, and the signal strength. Yeah, the battery life, signal strength, and all that's up at the top. However, all your notifications are down here. So, yeah. As for recommending the S5, that's a maybe. Because keep in mind, we do have the Note, like I said, the Notes coming out. Additionally, we do have the iPhone 6 Plus coming out, so, there's a win there. That's what I'm going to. So with that being said, as I look forward to the iPhone 6 Plus, it seems to be a nice phone so far. It seems to be, a somewhat belated answer to many other Android phones. But the big question in everyone's mind is, especially with that picture that's been circulating around social media, is the iPhone 6 really just a more expensive and prettier Nexus 4? Well, we'll just have to wait and see on that. See if it is just a prettier and more expensive Nexus 4, or can Apple actually prove everyone wrong here, and Apple actually hits a home run this time? And it's also funny, too, when people always complain about the size of the Android screens, yet when iPhone gets their new screen update, everyone's like, ooh, iPhone! As for the Notes, how will they fare? How will everyone take to the Note Edge? And will this be a bigger improvement over the Note 3? And if you want to know my experience with the Note 3, I did make a review on that. I'll put a link in the video description towards that so you know how I felt on the Note 3 and how I had mine and played with that. And more importantly, remember how I said a month and a half after the Note 3's release we got an OtterBox? Can OtterBox actually speed things up this time? And at the very least offer it in half the time they did with the Note 3? Or give us a same-day or 3-day OtterBox? Some of these questions, I'll never answer personally because I'm going iPhone 6 Plus. But others I will and keep my eyes on. So, we'll just have to wait and see on all regards. Anyways, that was my thoughts and review on the Samsung Galaxy S5. Anyways, I am Adventure Link. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you watching my videos. I hope my review was informative and helpful to you and ultimately gives you some kind of base to make your decision on when you go buy your next phone. If you have any feedback, leave it in the comments section. I'll be more than happy to check comments and answer up to those. Rates and subscriptions are in the video description or thereabouts. You know how they work and what they do. I do appreciate those in addition to your comments and your viewing this video in the first place. And it's starting to get like fall outside, so there's going to be times where it's warm, times where it's cold, so make sure you accommodate for the weather. You know how it goes by now. I always mention it at the end of the video, but In any case, stay hydrated, eat right, stay healthy. Don't let others push you around. And I'm signing off with the wise words of wisdom from Eric the Car Guy, reminding you all to be safe, have fun, and stay dirty. Additionally, the wise words of wisdom of Jerry Springer. Take care of yourself and each other. See you next time. Have a nice day.